This is a recording of the NASA conference call, which was held Monday, January 27, 2003 at 7:50 a.m. Central Time, hosted by Ms. Linda Ham.
Good morning, and thank you all for holding. I'd like to begin with roll call. Do I have the Murr conference room?
The Murr is here.
Ron Dittamore? Mr. Dittamore?
We're in one of the rooms here.
Thank you, sir. The weather office?
Get the weather's here.
OSF Action Center?
Good morning, we're here.
Alex McCool?
Yes, we're here.
Colonel Jim Halsell?
We're here.
LCC?
LCC's here.
EMSR?
Good morning, we're on.
Mike Key?
We're here.
Mike Leinbach?
We're here.
John Cowart? Do we have Mr. Cowart's location?
We're here.
Mr. Fuller?
We're here.
Scott Southwell?
We're here.
Jack Heifenheim?
I'm here.
And Ms. Ham's location.
We're here.
Thank you. I would like to remind all parties the call is being recorded. If anyone has any objections, please disconnect at this time. Thank you.
Hey, and good morning. We're going to start again with MOD, and Phil, if you give us an update, since our last MMT was Friday, you'll have to go over stuff that happened over the weekend.
Okay. Just, excuse me, going down the list sort of to summarize, the vehicle and the crew are still in great shape, doing well. It was a fairly quiet weekend. We're running prop margins about 500 pounds forward, 900 pounds aft. Our cryo margins, we were showing about 2 days, 10 hours. We've revised that back to 2 days, 7 hours based on end of mission attitude timeline that has now been stabilized to both the tire thermal issue and the heaters that go along with that factored back into the cryo plan. We're gonna call it 2 days, 7 hours.
Still got a good 4 days beyond the end of mission.
Still have plenty of margin. LIO, like I said before, is protecting +4, and cryo will easily do that still. Over the weekend, we finished pulling together 3 potential IFMs for the cooling system. The 3 consisted of the removal of the orifice in the duct, the simple water cleanup, which is just to take get under the floorboard and use the vacuum to draw water out of the WSA without taking the cover off, and then the somewhat more invasive version, taking the cover off, which requires shutting down the airflow. We've got all 3 of those completed, but at this time the temperatures in the vehicle are all supporting. The cabin temperatures have come back down since we shut VCD down, since they finished, and we're back down in the 74-degree range in the hab as well as in the mid-deck. The crew has reiterated that they're very comfortable and don't think we need to do anything for temperatures, so MOD is recommending no action on any of those IFMs at this point. We also don't believe that there's any significant amount of water under the floor, but as the crew has reported that they have inspected and don't see any water inside the cover looking through the holes or anything like that. But we are prepared to do any of those IFMs if it becomes required.
Okay, so on the first IFM, Vanessa, the CSR is okay with all that?
Yeah.
Not implementing?
Right. The only one that Space Hab still wants to do is just the inspection at, I guess, the day before landing, and if there is any water to clean up and do the gray taping, but none of the more intrusive IFMs at all.
That was the one you think the crew thinks that they have the water all cleaned up. What were they looking in? What holes?
There are some like 1-inch diameter holes in the WSA cover that they can look through and kind of peer around in there, and they haven't seen any water.
Right. And Space Hab is aware that the crew has said they don't think there's any water there. They just want to look before we land.
In the WSA?
Yes.
Right.
Yes.
How long does that take?
15 minutes.
Okay. You do that? All right.
You want us to put that in the plan?
Yeah.
Okay.
If it's overcome by other events, then I would make it
We can
low priority,
it,
but
yeah.
if you got the 15 minutes, then go ahead and put it in.
Okay. Just one other piece of data. You remember early in the mission we shut down the subsystem water loop pump 1 and switched to 2 because the delta P had fallen off. Loop 2 delta P is also slowly decreasing, has been steadily since we turned it on, I guess, about a half a PSI per day. At that rate, it'll get down to where Loop 1 was when we shut it off about flight day 22, so we think we're in good shape margin-wise. But just for your comfort level, we also think Loop 1 is still usable. It was just degrading, and we switched to the better loop at the time. So we still think we have redundancy, even if we got to a point where we're
uncomfortable. You think it's some kind of contamination or blockage? Is that what the staff people are thinking? Yeah? Okay.
Like I said, we have an intermission thermal addle that satisfies everybody for water and tire temperatures and all of that sort of stuff, and that's now been factored into the plan. We are working in orbit adjust plan. We said we have Edwards 221 getting up through intermission plus 2, and if we get down past about intermission plus 1, we can get KSC EOM plus 4, we can get a second attempt if we go ahead and do an orbit adjust burn. So your choices are you could try to bring in a second Edwards on EOM plus 2, or we can bias and try to go the other direction and get a KSC on plus 4. But we don't think we need to do anything until post EOM plus 1 or so, and we can do.
You know, if it's overcome by other events, then I would make it like low priority, but if you got the 15 minutes, then go ahead and put it in.
Okay. Just one other piece of data. You remember early in the mission we shut down the subsystem water loop pump 1 and switched to 2 because the delta P had fallen off. Loop 2 delta P is also slowly decreasing, has been steadily since we turned it on, I guess, about a half a PSI per day. At that rate, it'll get down to where Loop 1 was when we shut it off about flight day 22, so we think we're in good shape margin-wise. But just for your comfort level, we also think Loop 1 is still usable. It was just degrading, and we switched to the better loop at the time, so we still think we have redundancy, even if we got to a point where we're
uncomfortable. You think it's some kind of contamination or blockage? Is that what the staff people are thinking? Yeah? Okay.
Like I said, we have an intermission thermal addle that satisfies everybody for water and tire temperatures and all of that sort of stuff, and that's now been factored into the plan. We are working in orbit adjust plan. We said we have Edwards 221 getting up through intermission plus 2, and if we get down past about intermission plus 1, we can get KSC EOM plus 4, we can get a second attempt if we go ahead and do an orbit adjust burn. So your choices are you could try to bring in a second Edwards on EOM plus 2, or we can bias and try to go the other direction and get a KSC on plus 4. But we don't think we need to do anything until post EOM plus 1 or so, and we can decide then which way we think we want to go.
Okay. So you don't need to do any orbit adjust until after end of mission plus 1, did you say?
Correct. After the attempts on plus 1.
All right.
And so what I'm telling you is the FIDOs are kind of bored and they're working on EOM plus 4 landing opportunities.
Okay, good.
We did get a little bit of delay in our email activity over the weekend due to the big virus deal. I think we had some delays on crew email getting on board because we couldn't get email into the center, and it shut down our ability to do email with some of the other centers, but we managed with faxes and telephones just fine.
We're all around it, and our center's back up and getting email, right?
Yes.
I believe Casey's still down.
All right, okay. Let's see. RAD deploy plan. We've stowed the radiator, and it was in the plan to go ahead and redeploy the radiator. It was going to be a dual RAD deploy. We're down to thinking we can get by with just one, and that's scheduled for 11 days, 3 hours, and we restow that one on 14 days, 18 hours a day before entry. Let's see if there's anything else in here. I think that's basically all I've got to report, Linda.
No time again?
14 days, 18.
14, 18. Okay.
Oh, we do have a ship-to-ship PAO comm event today. orbiter to the station.
Oh,
At a little afternoon this afternoon, 12:40 local.
okay. Thanks. From the MER.
Yeah, Linda, on Friday I'd mentioned a thermal analysis that we were looking at, and I'd stated that we had looked at 5 of 6 areas. Just want to let you know that we looked at the 6th location, which was an area on the main landing gear door. Now, the integration folks think this is a low probability area as far as, maybe sustaining a hit there, but we went ahead and looked at it. We looked at
You're talking debris.
Yeah, debris.
Okay.
And we looked at an area about the size of 30 inches by 7 inches, and of course a sloped, cratered out area. And our results there were similar to what we got elsewhere, and that is, although local degradation of the door structures likely if we were to have sustained a hit there, there's no predicted burn through and no safety of flight issue. So that
turnaround issue.
Yeah, possibly.
If it were hit there.
If it were hit there, and it's a critical area there on the door, but also the integration guys had indicated that they thought that was a low probability location, but it was still one that we went off and looked at. So that completes the thermal analysis from the debris hit. And with that, that's all I've got.
All right, Vanessa.
Okay, Phil's covered all of the SpaceHab systems. The only thing else is that the AEM mufflers are on. They are back on because the temperatures are low enough. The acoustics should be in acceptable range. And data and command, there's been no change. We're still operating as discussed at Friday's MMT. The SpaceHab payloads are operating nominally. They're getting great science. I previously reported on the BioPack payload, the one that lost the refrigerator, the incubator, and the freezer. They did do an IFM to try to unclog a filter. There was no joy in terms of returning that full facility back up. They do have capability to do ambient processing, and that's what they're doing with their samples. They expect to have very good science. So PIs are working in that configuration, and they're very pleased. Also reported on MISTERS, which is a DoD payload. They sent a software patch up on yesterday, and they have gotten a successful run, so things are looking up for them as well. CM2 continues to do great science and new and wonderful things. They completed 15 of their softball runs, and the crew has been naming them all. They all have names, so I'm not sure exactly why they're being named, but anyway, they all have they're all been duly identified as space children. Freestar, they did get a dust storm on yesterday. And the weather conditions may be favorable for another one today. There are some cyclones in the area, but they are looking for more dust. I think there's another run coming up quickly. And we also did get real-time digital downlink via DTP, one of the things we worked on. So we've gotten all of the technical accomplishments done that we on the slide as well. And that's all I have to report. I guess just one other thing to report is I am working up the waiver for the down weight, and we're waiting on responses, and they are coming in. So expect to have that put to bed before the next MMT.
All right. And on that issue, do we all know what weight we're working to here and what weight we're going to analyze? I heard different numbers, and you got the MER, you guys went to what weight? Your analysis, 233.7?
Yeah, for what we reported on Friday, TSEP had been run for 233.7. Now, it's my understanding that TSEP has now been run for 234.8, and that all looked good.
Yeah, I believe it's not quite signed off yet, but if it's signed off, then do you need to do any kind of analysis?
No, we talked about that this morning. We're good. If the results of TSEP are good, we're good to 234.8.
Got it. And let's see, Don, are you on?
Yes, and we did, Friday we did 233.7, and we stayed within the cert boundary for the SSME bluing. We haven't done anything on 234.8, and I'm not sure we really need to. You're going to get what you're going to get as far as the bluing. I mean, we've had analysis where we didn't predict a bluing, and we've got it, so I'm not sure there's anything to be gained for us to go redo an analysis at 234.8.
Okay. And, I don't think you need to go redo an analysis, so I don't know if Don, did you guys already respond to the CHIT?
Well, we had responded to the CHIT, and of course the CHIT showed 233.6 and some change is expected, and 233.9 is worst case.
Right.
So we really responded to the CHID as really a 234. But if there's something else we need to respond to for 234.8, if that's where folks think we're going to be.
Well, I don't know. I think it's MOD that does the TSEP, and they got the 234.8 and 6.8. Okay.
Yeah, and I frankly don't know where 234.8 came from. The FIDOs that did the run are not in this morning, so I wasn't able to get clarification on that. But as far as what we're projecting for the actual vehicle weight, we think we're going to be a lot closer to 233.7 than above 234.
We should probably have MOD just put a one-liner in response to the CHID if you respond to your own CHID. So however you do the paper, it said we did TSEP out at 234.8, and we're okay up to that point. And then we'll let integration put their number in there. And when we,
That's right.
we've got Rod Jones here, who's Richard, sorry.
Okay. To clarify on the 234.8, that basically fell out of our sim. I think we initialized our data at a high enough number targeting for 234.5, and we just got a little bit higher weight. And as far as why we ran 234.5, I was in some discussions with the MUR yesterday, and that seemed to be a high priority. So,
all right.
Obliged.
Whatever we did run, we'll just document it in the CHID and say we're okay up to that weight, and if the nozzles are only whatever number they did, 233.7, that's fine too. We could just document it in the waiver.
Okay. So we'll do the waiver at 237 and just document that we can go as high as 234.8 for the purposes.
All righty. Anything else on the down weight? I think we're done analyzing. Okay. Let's see. Did you have anything else from the MUR?
No.
Okay.
I don't.
Oh, yeah, we did Vanessa. Vanessa, do you have anything else?
No, nothing else for me.
Okay, FCOD?
No issues, Linda. Obviously, if there's any talk of extensions, the crew said that they would be more than happy to oblige. They're in good spirits and happy to stay longer.
Okay. The only reason we do that is for weather.
I understand.
Okay. Sam?
Crew's in good shape, working, no issues.
Good. Integration?
Yeah, we don't have anything else to report, and we're done with down weight analysis.
Good. Thanks. Lauren?
Nothing else this morning, Linda.
Vehicle processing?
Nothing to report, thank you.
Marshall Projects?
We have nothing, thank you.
Launch integration? Nothing, I say.
Nothing here.
Okay. And safety?
Nothing.
Okay. Our next MMT will go over the entry briefing, and it'll be Thursday, 8 o'clock. Thanks for your support.